Good morning, Kitchissippi. It is Saturday, December the 7th. This is a video version of the 415th Kitchissippi Weekly Ward Newsletter. My usual reminder, there's lots of information about the topics we'll discuss in the newsletter, to which you can subscribe at kitchissippiward.ca. This will be a fairly short newsletter this week as we count down to Wednesday's budget. I'm going to be taking my usual holiday starting around December the 16th. We'll shut the office down for a week over the holidays to give everyone a chance to rest and recharge. I'll be hosting my last pop-up office hours of the week on Friday, December the 13th from 2 until 5 p.m. at the Happy Goat that is on Laurel. Remember, pop-ups are an opportunity to come by anytime during those hours and chat with me one-on-one without appointment about whatever is on your mind. A quick note this week with respect to the second property of the two that we purchased on Ladouceur to expand Armstrong Park. The residents in the area should start to see on Wednesday the beginning of some of the environmental remediation. That's removing the asbestos, the utility disconnections, and sometime in later January they'll knock that building down. There will be topsoil across the whole site by late May. Consultations about how to rebuild that park or best take advantage of the expanded park space will happen through 2025, 2026. Stay tuned for details of that. In the meantime, I have a link in the newsletter to the construction notice describing the demolition and that schedule. An interesting application has just crossed my desk with respect to 50 Bayswater and 1088 Somerset Street West. So that's the area around the existing 17-story tower that is at the corner of Bayswater and Somerset. The owner is proposing to build a second tower, a 16-story, I believe, an 18-story tower, plus a 6-story building around the building that is already there. I haven't had a chance to take a close look at the application yet, but obviously folks will want to get up to speed on that one. I have a link in the newsletter to the development application that is online, and you can be certain I'll be hosting an open house to offer an opportunity to pose your questions to the builder about what they're proposing. So stay tuned for more details on that. I'm not sure if I'll get that out before the go tools down on the holidays, but I hope that I am able to at least describe when there might be an open house. I've posted my monthly CMHC tracker numbers, so the most recently available numbers for October were released at the end of November. It is slow out there. There is just 512 starts in October, 398 completions. We are still outpacing the housing completions year over year by a significant amount, but the pipeline of housing units under construction has gotten very slow. In fact, 2023 and 2022 are outpacing construction pipeline at this point. So take a look at that. If you're interested in housing numbers, I have a link in the newsletter. Last note with respect to the Committee of Adjustment meeting that's going to be held on December the 11th. There are two Kitchissippi Ward properties that are on that agenda. At 28 Gwyn, as I've described in previous newsletters, the owner is seeking permission to build a front-facing garage as part of a new detached dwelling that was going to go in there. I have the planning report now. It's online from the planners who are expressing concerns about that front-facing garage, as they usually do. At 346 Roosevelt, the owner is seeking permission for things like reduced frontage, interior side yard and lot area for the construction of a 4-story, 6-unit apartment building there. City planning staff have had an opportunity to provide their comments, again attached to the agenda item online. They are expressing some concerns about the driveway and how that might affect the need for additional or changed variances. They are asking for an adjournment on that one, so we'll see whether or not that development or request for variances is adjourned on Wednesday, December the 11th. Listen, on Wednesday night, thank you very much to all of the elves who came out to help Santa answer letters from kids during the postal strike. We have 2 more workshops coming up on the next 2 Wednesday evenings when a number of elves will get together to answer all the letters that we're receiving from kids to Santa with their Christmas lists. We have a lot of elves as well who are delivering the responses from Santa back to those children. If you haven't dropped your letter to Santa off yet, there are 3 locations in the ward where you can do so. St. Stephen's Presbyterian Church is at 549 Parkdale, the Hintonburg Community Center at 1064 Wellington Street West, and at the Dovercourt Recreation Center, which is at 411 Dovercourt. Bring letters to Santa to any of those 3 locations. Elves are going to pick those up. Elves are going to help Santa reply to those, and we have lots of elves who are providing the help. Thank you very much for the generous outpouring of support, and then we'll get those letters back to kids over the course of the next couple of weeks before Christmas. At City Hall, just the 2 meetings, really the big meetings left before we go tools down for the holidays. On Tuesday, December the 10th, the Built Heritage Committee is going to meet to consider the designation and alteration of multiple properties, including 284 Edward, 120 Juliana. There is the proposal at Bank and Nepean, about which we'll speak more in a moment, 79 Jig, 159 Montreal, and as well at 50 Carruthers in our ward in Mechanicsville, the property owner has expressed her statutory right to ask the committee to take a second look at the designation that we recently did for that property. And then on Wednesday, of course, is the big City Council meeting. The big item will be the budget. As always, there will be lots of discussion, lots of motions, councillors trying to move the budget in one direction or another. I fully expect that the big discussion, of course, and you're expecting it too, will be around transit. There are some fare increases for seniors, for students, for youth that are all going to be the subject of motions to roll those back. We'll see where that winds up. Ultimately, though, I do expect that the budget will pass with that 2.9% tax hike for everything non-transit, with the 8% tax hike, or roughly thereabouts after all the motions, for just the transit portion of the levy. So that'll be a big discussion. Overall, I am still struggling with whether or not I can support the mayor's budget. The 2.9% increase for everything that is not transit is not leaving us any wriggle room to make the kinds of changes that you ask me to make every year. And I think about things like plowing the Hampton lot, getting more public washrooms in place, better pickup of garbage and such. I am pleased to see that they're going to hire more bylaw officers, which I'm told will help us to address some of the dogs in parks issues that you raise with me year after year, and to which I have pointed people to the budget program, the budget discussion, because it is a budget discussion around the number of officers available to enforce. But overall, we are not leaving ourselves any room with the 2.9% tax increase to have the kind of aspirational change that would make this a better city. So I really am struggling with whether or not I can support the mayor's budget on this one. I was part of the working group that put together the transit package, as we have to deal with that $120 million hole in the budget. I will be supporting the transit package, however that is modified, and I fully expect that I will be supporting some of the motions that we expect to see to further roll back some of the fare hikes for particularly vulnerable users. And then the other big discussion is going to be with respect to the Smart Living property at the corner of Bank and Nepean. The Planning and Housing Committee sent that without recommendation to City Council to deal with. I know a number of my colleagues are looking for a better compensation package for the 11 tenants who are in the building right now before they can support the rezoning that would lead to a redevelopment of that site. There is no question in my mind that the rezoning that they're looking for is the appropriate one. A 9-story mixed-use building at that location meets all of the plans and policies that we have for development in the City of Ottawa under our official plan. But that question of the treatment of tenants is very much on my colleagues' minds, and I'm very interested to see how that one turns out. Hopefully Smart Living has sharpened their pencils on the compensation package. And finally, in the newsletter, I do want to make note that as you've probably heard by now, the Trillium line is expected to go into operation on 5-day-a-week service beginning on January 6th. So here at Corso Italia Station, we'll begin accepting passengers on January 6th 6, 5 days a week, so that's during the week. After a couple of weeks, if it's been running smoothly, they'll open that up to include, I believe it's Sunday service, and then open that up for Saturday service a couple of weeks later, so that it'll be another month or so before we have full 7-day-a-week service. But they are taking a prudent go slow approach in light of the issues that we had associated with line 1, so I'm not pushing back at that phased approach. I think it makes sense for them to have that additional time on the weekend for a couple of weeks for the garage to be able to really just focus on maintenance, make sure everything is running safely and reliably. So I can't wait to get on the train. I understand I'll have an opportunity to do that before the train goes into service. I'm wildly excited for that, but I am also extremely excited for going into passenger service on January 6th. Kitchissippi, I hope you have a great week, and thank you very much for watching.